You're listening to Talk Star Wars, a proud member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com and take your first steps into a larger world. Talk Star Wars is a production of Emotionally 14. For fantastic podcasts, video series, blog posts, and much more, visit us on the web at emotionally14.com and enjoy content for the permanently teenaged. Hello there, and welcome to episode 191 of the Talk Star Wars podcast from Emotionally14.com. I'm your host, as always, Rob Wade, and I'm joined by the Chewie to my Han, Brad Humberbuns.
Yeah, I'm the McLunkey to your Greedo.
Yeah, this is true. Have you seen it since?
No, I'm saving it.
Have you not? Oh,
no.
Dude, it's fantastic. It's just so bizarre.
I don't get...
Have you seen it without sound or anything on Twitter? Because there's a clip of it doing the rounds on Twitter, and I first saw it without sound and had no context for what was going on. So then I went back and watched it with sound and thought, wow, this is really, really strange. It's, I mean, you know, if George wants to put weird stuff like that in, that's fine.
Was it actually George that did it?
Yes, apparently it was a change he made for...
That's a parting shot, that is.
For the Blu-rays, for the 4K or something, really? Something like that. It's like, so I forget the exact...
Why?
The exact circumstances. He made a tweak to it as part of another edit he was doing.
See, I get making the initial change. Whether you agree with it or not, I can understand that over 20 odd years he might have felt he wanted to do it differently. So yeah. I understand making the initial Han shot first change. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of understand where they've tweaked it occasionally to make it look a little less jarring.
Yep.
But this McLunkey thing seems to add absolutely nothing to it.
Oh, I mean, it adds hilarity. It's just, really? It's just so out of place.
Gonna have to look it up now.
And it just makes you think. I don't know whether, like, in universe, I might time code this. In universe, whether McLunkey's like the Rhodian word for or something.
I mean, very possibly.
It's just that sort of. Right. That sort of thing.
I found a clip on YouTube, so if you want to time code it in case you get some bleed from my speaker.
Okay.
That's really jarring. I thought it was going to be like spliced over the top of a shot.
No, it's literally just cuts to him profile, like just face on.
Just face on.
Just McLunkey. I really think it's like...
The only explanation I have is as he was walking into the bar, he was going... What was the name of the Beatles bass player?
What would I call my detective in the gritty series that I wrote? Yeah. And it just comes to him in the moment that's like,
right, McLunkey. He remembers, yes.
Yeah.
Never to be seen.
Yeah. It was actually a bet he had on with Suspicious the Hut.
Wait, when I heard it described, I assumed it was at the point the blast went off, it was like an extra sound bite layered over the top of it.
Like a war cry or something.
Yeah, or just to make it sound like he was taken by surprise.
Yeah.
It's
not though, is it?
No, that's really quite jarring.
Is it jarring?
Man. Yeah, jam jarring. I'm not doing that anymore. Okay. No. Any more Star Wars food puns? I think we
Oh, right. I thought it was a weird fetish you developed.
No.
I also don't want to know what it would be. I don't know.
Just licking out a gem jar with a massive tongue, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. An anteaters are big into that.
I like doing stuff like that, and he's got to work out if it's worth blipping or not.
I mean, you know. We've all been there.
Yeah, totally.
How have you been?
I haven't been licking out with jam jars, if that's what you're implying.
No, that's fair. Yeah. I mean,
no, I've been fine. I've been Star Warsing.
Yeah.
A lot of Batmaning going on in my house at the moment.
Yes, you've been sharing pictures. I've been seeing them.
Yes, yeah, and a small person is now obsessed with Batman and Superman.
Good taste. What can you say?
So that's her latest obsession.
Because she got into Hellblazer.
Yes, she got into a Scooby-Doo, and there's a Scooby-Doo meets Batman movie, and off the back of that, she decided she likes Batman. Nice. So we've been doing the Justice League cartoon.
They're great.
2001.
Yeah.
No, it's Kevin Conroy as Batman. How wrong can you go?
Exactly. Have you started the Unlimited yet?
No, still the
That's pretty good, worth giving a go. It's a bit less of the core characters, and there's more of the sort of people who kind of jump in for episodes, like Wildcat and
cool.
A little bit more Martian Manhunter. Green Arrow turns up, Black Canary,
nice.
Loads of different, loads of different characters on the sort of jump in and out.
It's Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor in the one I was watching today.
That sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, it's got a really good voice cast generally. I think those cartoons,
absolutely.
Yeah, because even like you say, Kevin Conroy, Clancy Brown, Phil Lamar's in there. I think it's the Martian Manhunter, if I remember rightly. And he's just got a great voice for it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Is it Phil Lamar doing Martian Manhunter, or is he Green Lantern?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember now. I'll have to look it up. I'm going to be... it's going to bug me otherwise.
Yes, this is Talk DC Animated. For
Talk IMDb.
Clancy Brown's in Star Wars, so we've
there you go. There's the connection. Who's he playing Star Wars?
He's Savage Opress in Clone Wars.
Ah, there you go. I can see that actually with the Lex Luthor kind of vocal stylings. I'm going to look for Phil Lamar as a quicker way of doing this, because whichever one he is going to come up on here. I would have thought, because it's one of his more famous roles. Obviously Hermes Conrad in Futurama. That's not what I'm looking for.
My man Ridge.
Gotta love it. That's annoying. I was hoping in Young Justice he might have played the same character, but he didn't. Let's see. Justice League. I realise for the listeners this is thrilling stuff.
Yeah, it's...
Tell me more about your week while I'm scrolling.
What else have I been in? Well, I've been doing Star Wars wise. I'm sure I've been doing something Star Wars wise. I'm just about to start Resistance Reborn. I picked up the audiobook.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Today. Been Clone Wars in, reading comics as per usual. That's, and just like Firewind readying as well, all the editing that goes on that. There's a new episode went on last week.
Will have gone on by the time this, this goes live.
By the time of release, so you guys can go and watch that, because you're on that one as well. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I am. I don't talk. From what I remember, I don't talk much, but when I do, it's dynamite. We generally, even if you're not into games, I think there's generally quite a good balance on our gameplay vids. Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that. I'm still struggling with this research. I'm going to tell you about my week in the meantime. Okay, cool. So what was the original question we're looking up here? Who did Phil Lamar play in Justice League in the cartoon? In the cartoon? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Carl Lumbly is the other actor who's playing one of those two roles. There you go. Phil Lamar played Green Lantern. Yeah, and Carl Lumbly plays John Jones. Okay, there we go. Mystery solved. Anyway, my week. So I've continued with Fallen Order, made a bit more progress in that. It is still hard, but I'm I wouldn't say I'm rising to the occasion, because I am still losing and restarting a lot. But I do find that I'm okay with making my way through it at the pace I'm doing it without, it's not going to annoy me to the point of I can't do this anymore and I'm going to give up. The worst I'll do is drop the difficulty when it gets overwhelming. There's a point I can do it without spoilers, because I think this is in one of the trailers that there's a level on Dathomir. Okay. Because of the way the game is structured, it's all in kind of a loose order. It's not quite linear, so you can do planets in different sequences. And I'm not ready for Dathomir. I had to go, and I was like, no, let's go to a different place. I could fight the people there. But yeah, it was because it was particularly punishing. You get attacked by two Night Brothers within about 5 minutes of arriving on the planet, and it's like, they're quite hard. Turns out, who knew? Anyway, we begin the voice cast to us is insane. It just keeps on going. It's brilliant. This is it. And it gets even better. Hey, Ron Perlman. Justice League Unlimited has even more people in it. So it's got people like John C. McGinley. What's his name? So there's a guy, the guy who plays Wildcat is quite a famous voice actor. I can't remember his name escapes me right now. But Michael Ironside's Darkseid is spectacularly good casting. It's good, right? Yeah. William Atherton as Dr. Destiny. Exactly. What more can you possibly want?
Indeed. Yeah. So we begin our Star Wars journey this week with a message from Vesuvi.
Robert England?
No, Vesuvi.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Michael Goff and Pam Grier?
Again, no.
Mark Hamill as Solomon Grundy?
Yeah, he is. He's quite good in that. Why not, right?
Sorry, Charles trying to get my attention. What? Oh, sorry. Mark Hamill as Solomon Grundy.
Mark Hamill, yeah. That's the guy. That's the fella. Yeah, so Vesuvi wrote to say, thanks, Rob. Thanks, Brad.
You're welcome, Vesuvi.
Since you mentioned Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, my boyfriend is loving playing it, nearly to the point of addiction, and I'm loving watching the gameplay. Mm-hmm. It is a good game for spectating, as long as you're not... I would say it's one of those games that if you're really good at games, it'd probably annoy you to watch other people play because they're going to get killed a lot. But if you're not very good at games, or you're just into the story and that's it, it will be fine. You'll do okay. And it seems like Vesuvi's probably in that boat. I mean, she strikes me as, if she put her mind to games, I'm sure she'd be very good at it. But she doesn't strike me as the type to play. Maybe she takes in the stories of the good ones, much like my good wife. Interesting to learn that stuff about Boss Nass. I always just assumed the difference in appearance could be chalked up to his being significantly overweight as compared to the other Gungans shown. But hey, one learns something new every day. That's true. Since many folks in the US will be celebrating Thanksgiving in a few days, by the time this is read on the podcast, it'll be days past. I want to express gratitude to all hosts from the Star Wars Commonwealth, along with all listeners. Additionally, I'm hoping you all in the UK had or will have a nice time at whatever autumnal or mid-autumnal festivals you keep. And I send similarly translated goodwill to whatever's set to be celebrated in the Southern Hemisphere too. Exhausted as ever, Vesuvi, Knight of the Commonwealth. P.S. As I'm listening to TSW episode 190, I'm seeing Brad's full name printed for the first time in memory, to her memory, on the main website. You might find it amusing that my brain-damaged ear always heard it as Brad Humberbuns.
Cool.
Conjuring imagery of bakeries along the estuaries of the Ouse and Trent rivers in East England. I'm actually relieved it's Harmer Barnes. That makes infinitely more sense, though it still makes me crave freshly baked breads.
I knew I should have gone with a pen name.
So yeah, it's Harmer Barnes for those who are not familiar and who haven't seen it. I think on the website this week, I put like a little blurb at the bottom of the episode description to say like,
let's just call the episode title Harmer Barnes.
Humberbuns. Let's just call it Humberbuns.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not? That's a candidate. Here we go. Yeah. So at the end, I put Talk Star Wars is a production of emotionally14.com, which it is, and a proud member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network, which it is. Featuring host Rob Wade and Brad Harmer Barnes, production by Rob Wade, which it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that must have
no argument there.
That was the first time I'd done that in full. So because I've had bits of that in the blurb before, and that's the first time I've kind of extended it out. So that's probably the reason that she's only seen your name written there for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Okay, that's a good one. I like that one.
So just before we move on, so happy Thanksgiving. Of course, it's belated, but happy Thanksgiving to our American listeners. Happy normal day of the week for our listeners who don't celebrate Thanksgiving, which includes the UK. Because I don't know about you, but when the closest I've ever got is when I was a kid, they had harvest festivals at school. Mm-hmm. But that was about it. I've never really known anything to be celebrated in any other way since then.
No, not really.
And it's never had any kind of crossover like Christmas. Not Christmas, Halloween, because Christmas is pretty universal. Let's be fair, for the most part, at least. Obviously, some people celebrate other holidays and stuff instead in place of, and obviously different countries around the world have different rituals and different days of celebration and stuff.
Yeah,
some of them celebrate on Christmas Eve. Some of them celebrate, I don't know, a week before.
I don't know how it works.
I have no idea either. But yeah, there's not really anything here between Halloween and Christmas, right? That's about it.
No, we have Bonfire Night.
Bonfire Night, that's true, yeah. But apart from that, it's kind of after that you start to get the Christmas decks go up pretty much immediately after Halloween, really, because Bonfire Night doesn't really have... It only has fireworks, and even then, probably they've only got a few more years left if Change.org has its way. Yeah.
Which it always does.
Of course, lest we forget, they've never failed to succeed on any one thing they've ever put their mind to as a position outfit, definitely, lest we forget. So what I wanted to ask you this because it's a kind of open-ended question. So in Star Wars, what are you thankful for?
What am I thankful for in Star Wars? Well, apart from Star Wars in general.
Mm-hmm. A specific thing or an actor or a character? Or
I'm thankful I get to be part of the greatest Star Wars podcast out there.
Oh, that's nice. Have you? When did you join Tumbling Saber? You betrayer. They are great.
Yeah. I mean, they're not us, but they're great.
Yeah, exactly. They're as great as anybody who's not us is one to be. That's.
I am thankful that Star Wars Tabletop Gaming is finally good.
That's good. Yeah,
took its damn time getting there, but it's on fire at the moment. Not literally.
It's on fire when ready, you might say.
Yeah, it's it is. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, man. I wonder if we should play Rebellion tomorrow now.
Ooh. I mean, I'm always down for a game of Rebellion. You know me.
Yeah, but man, that group we've got.
Well, yeah, quite. I mean, either way.
For people who aren't us, that's not interesting.
Yeah, there's no bad. Let's be fair. For that group, I'll briefly say it and then we'll move on. There's no bad game for that group to play.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
bring the Zoom. Trying to think what else I'm thankful for with Star Wars. Rogue One, I'm thankful for still after all these years.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, I'm glad that the books are kind of cutting loose. I think the movie break is going to be good, and we're going to see some really good books and comics kicking up.
I hope so. We had an announcement this week, didn't we?
Sorry?
We had two announcements this week on the subject of books.
We did. The new Padme one and the new Thrawn one.
So there's a new Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah, but that cover art for the new
fantastic.
Thrawn is amazing.
So for those who haven't seen it,
good.
It's a really sharp kind of just white cover with Thrawn standing, and in his shadow is just cast the Chiss Ascendancy kind of symbol, right? Mm-hmm. The Chimera, or I don't know. That is what they call it, isn't it?
Chimera.
Yeah. I kind of got confused, but anyway. Yeah, so there's that one, and then there's not Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, I think. I have to I'm going to double check that. I'm going to confirm, but it's another E.K. Johnston Padme book.
Okay.
And I can't remember. Let's say I can't quite remember the title. I'm going to look it up, double check, and fact check now. Queen's Peril. Yeah, I nailed it.
Okay, cool.
Nailed it. So yeah, Padme Amidala returns in another book. This might become a trilogy too. Who knows? They seem to be going for the mini-series in books again, which is good because some of the best Legend stuff was mini-series, like Thrawn, Jedi Academy. I mean, there was stuff to like about the Krellin trilogy, the original one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was stuff to like about that. I liked the notion of Han having sort of family who were a bit messed up.
Yep.
That was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this week I'm thankful for the cast of even though we've talked about a fair bit about the sort of the virtues and vices of the sequel movies. I'm thankful for the main cast because they all just seem delightful. So Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, especially this week, John Boyega. So I don't know if you've been following this news about the script.
Oh, didn't John Boyega lose his script?
So if people aren't familiar, so the story, it went in stages. So J.J. Abrams went on in an interview and said that somebody had lost their script and it had ended up on eBay.
Yeah.
With a starting bid of £65.
So.
Yeah, they just clearly didn't know what they had.
Yeah, quite.
And then Daisy Ridley was interviewed on, I think, either Good Morning America or Jimmy Fallon, because I know she's been on both this week. Okay. Because there's a viral video of her doing the rounds of her rapping the trilogy thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is about Jimmy Fallon and making people
do stupid stuff.
Well, making white women rap. It's weird to me. Like there's a theme. He did the same thing with Millie Bobby Brown about Stranger Things as well.
Oh, okay.
It seems very odd. Like I know when Daniel Radcliffe did it, it made some contextual sense because they were talking about rap. But now it seems to have just become a thing he does to lots of his different guests. And like I say, predominantly women. It's weird to me.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Anyway, I don't know if it's just like endearing women. So it's like nobody's going to really complain because they're fun. And that's cool.
I guess so. Yeah.
But yeah, the John Boyega. So Daisy Ridley was interviewed and they asked her, was it you? And she said no. And then I think she made it all but clear that it was John Boyega.
Okay. Right.
And then he was being interviewed on Good Morning America and he said, it was me. I was moving apartment. I put it under my bed for safekeeping, went out with some friends, lost track of it. The next day, moved apartment, and then a few weeks later, the cleaners came and found it and put it on the thing. And there was this bit on this clip that was just so funny because it was just just so much fun. He said even Mickey Mouse called him up and said, "What did you do?" And it was just the way he said it and the way the host reacted. Yeah. And it's just like stuff like that is just great fun. Like when people are kind of just genuinely happy people, it's kind of nice. You know, John Boyega seems to be having the time of his life doing Star Wars, which is good. Yeah, well, this is what you want, isn't it? You don't want people for whom it's just a job.
They keep Adam Driver quiet, I've noticed.
I think that's fair. I mean, with the I almost feel like because I actually wouldn't be surprised if the verdict was that even though it's fantastic, the undercover boss Starkiller Base thing actually did Kylo Ren a bit of a disservice as a character in the films.
Maybe
because it's kind of people see him on Starkiller and they're like, oh, it's Matt.
Yeah,
and it's fun, but at the same time, it makes him a little bit less imposing to the sort of teens.
They definitely kept him off all the chat shows and stuff for Last Jedi.
Yeah, for sure. He seems to be a bit more guarded. Even Luke. I mean, even Mark Hamill. He kind of gets on the chat shows and stuff.
Oh yeah,
or did for Last Jedi at least. Not so much for Rise of Skywalker, but again, maybe that's a deliberate kind of.
Yeah, who knows?
They still think they can keep the wool over three people's eyes whether or not he's in the film. Yeah. But I'm thankful for those three because they just seem to be having a lot of fun. Again, let's say we've talked about the kind of virtues and vices of the characters they portray, but there's never any kind of sense of like they do a bad job at acting.
Yeah,
they do a good job with the cards they're dealt, and the kind of the gripes and everything kind of fall on the characters rather than the performances.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. So Vesuvi continues with a resistance roundup. And it reads, Rendezvous Point begins smack in the middle of a skirmish between the Aces and a slew of TIE fighters as a Resurgent-class Star Destroyer steadily approaches the Colossus. See, this sounds more like Star Wars. Remember last week we had a bit of a mixed bag with the recaps.
It was a very sword and sorcery sounding one.
Yeah. Captain Dozer keeps urging the team to hold off the First Order, but when the shields get down to 5%, he has no choice.
Looking up what a Resurgent-class... I was one of those, wasn't it?
When the shields get down to 5%, he has no choice but to call them in so they can make a hyperspace jump. It's kind of Battlestar-y. I like that. Just as soon as the last ship skids into a landing bay, the Colossus vanishes. Simultaneously, a modified T-65B X-Wing comes out of light speed. The beautiful pilot wisecracks with her astromech Torch that the coordinates are correct, but she had no idea she'd be seeing a First Order vessel. The tractor beam pulls her in and troopers take her into custody.
This sounds Star Wars.
As she's escorted through the passageways, Tam and Jace get a glimpse of the prisoner. Jace notes that he doesn't recognise her from his time on Castellon. Tam, however, seems to think she looks familiar but doesn't elaborate. And that's where I should stop to preserve a semblance of mystery. Cool.
She's Snoke.
And then she also continues with a Mandalorian morsel. So obviously she's been giving us the spoiler-free breakdown of the Mandalorian. I think this is going to prove tricky. Already she seems to be struggling for stuff to talk about, which is fair. I can't fault her for that.
Yeah.
So she writes, there isn't much I can tell you about Chapter 3. I suppose I can say that our protagonist returns to an unspecified desolate world that we first saw in Chapter 1 to claim his bounty. While there, he makes another visit to the Armourer and Grief Karga and the Client. We've got a new weapon referred to as Whistling Birds, but they don't have a Wikipedia page as yet. I believe this was updated since, but I'm not going to just read Wikipedia on the air because, that would get real old real fast. And a scene that makes my heart drop seeing a certain item in a dumpster.
Oh, the Cloud City ice cream maker.
Hello, what have we here? Neapolitan. This one has tons of action and character development, but I don't want to spoil it for you, so I'll shut my trap. Needless to say, I loved it. So Grief Karga, if memory serves, I'm going to double check this one because it's only short. Yeah. I believe that's Carl Weathers. Yeah, it's Carl Weathers' character. So he seems to be having a lot of fun. Werner Herzog seems to be having far more fun than I expected him to.
Apparently, he got totally... I've got to spoiler free, haven't I?
There's a particular item on set that he's very keen on.
Yeah, there is a puppet involved in the production. And apparently it was almost like he forgot it was a puppet.
Yeah.
So either he's so incredibly method or was just enamoured with this particular puppet. Yeah.
I think also I read somewhere that they were talking about replacing the puppet with CG and he called them cowards.
Oh, I love that, man.
Yeah, he's fantastically obscure and a bit weird.
That's those are things we can say.
That is fair. Yeah, and the client is Werner Herzog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So previous episodes have seen Nick Nolte appear as Pigface Man. I forget his specific character name, although that could be it, to be fair. They got away with the Walrus Man for however long. But there you go. So there's not a lot to, as I say, there's not a lot to share, and I think that Vesuvi's going to struggle, and I don't blame her for that, because obviously she is being more considerate than most of Twitter about spoilers. Yes. Because, again, it hasn't got any better. You know, it's almost as if nobody's listening to us when I rant about this stuff. The UK people are obviously sympathetic and generally agree with the position, but nobody else seems to give much of a monkey's. Such is life, you know. So our next message comes from Michael, who writes, "G'day, Rob and Brad. Thank you for keeping us informed and entertained as always. I think it's just a given now that at some point you'll make me laugh out loud to the bemusement of the other patrons travelling on the bus. Keep up the outstanding work." Well, yeah, thank you, Michael, and you're welcome for getting yourself a seat to yourself. I was recently listening to an older podcast where Mark and Rob spoke about the potential for casting Charlize Theron in a Star Wars role. Charlize is an outstanding actress, and she'd certainly been fantastic in the Star Wars universe. It made me ponder, who would I like to see playing the much-loved characters of Asajj Ventress and Ahsoka Tano on the big screen? I think the context for this, I think I pitched Charlize Theron as an Asajj Ventress candidate. Mm-hmm. In a world where TSW is leading the Star Wars auditioning process, which actresses scream cast me in that role? My top three for who would play an outstanding Ventress on screen are Keira Knightley. Sub-question, how many actresses have played two Star Wars characters on screen? I don't know if there is an answer. There probably is one.
Actresses who have played two Star Wars characters on screen.
Yeah. I'm not sure of any off the top of my head.
Let me have a think.
Yeah, have a think.
Someone was...
Cara Delevingne. She's got the look for it, I think. And Anna Kendrick. That's slightly out of left field, but I can sort of see it visually, I guess. My top picks for Ahsoka would be Linnea Bertelsen. I'm afraid, have to Google. Kristen Crook, see above. And Julia Stiles, who I do recognise. Julia Stiles. Anyway, so can't wait to hear your thoughts and casting choices. All the best, Michael from Sydney. So
Anthony Daniels.
Oh yes, that's true.
He specifies actresses.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies.
That's all right. I thought you meant Anthony Daniels was your pick for Asajj Ventress, and that is bold.
Yeah, I know he's played more than one Star Wars character.
Oh, okay.
That's what I didn't realise he'd specified actress. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, Anthony. Maybe listen.
I mean, I'm sure he appreciates that you picked up on the fact that he has done too.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are the two. So the two that we didn't recognise. Linnea Bertelsen is most recently and most notably known for Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. Have you seen season 2?
No.
Oh, okay. So she's in season 2.
Okay, that's what other people will have. That's fine.
Kristen Crook is Lana Lang from Smallville. She looks a bit like that.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah. She would make a good Lara Croft.
Yes.
Just from the look alone. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so those picks, first question, of those picks, who would you pick if you had to choose one of those three? For Ventress, Keira Knightley, so to remind, it's Keira Knightley, Cara Delevingne, and Anna Kendrick.
I don't swing with any of them.
I can't swing with...
None of those sit right for Ventress for me, I'm afraid.
I can't swing with Kendrick.
No problem with these actresses, but as a casting director, none of them scream Ventress to me.
No, Kendrick, is definitely a no for me. I just can't get my head around it on any level. Cara Delevingne,
she actually works better as Ahsoka for me.
Yeah, I think she would make a good Ahsoka. Cara Delevingne could do the Ventress visual, but I don't know about the performance. I'm not sure.
I've not seen her do any films, so I can't.
That is part of the thing as well. She's not done a huge number. Suicide Squad, Valerian, City of a Thousand Planets.
Yeah,
and
I've seen like clips. I've not seen the whole.
Yeah, she's not bad. I mean, Suicide Squad is not the best movie, but she's not the worst bit by any stretch. She's not bad. She's not bad in that film. She's not in it for long, but she does a good job with what she has.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley, kind of maybe.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, visually, Cara Delevingne's the only one out of those three who works for me.
Yeah.
If you're talking about live action, I just can't see any of them doing it. But I'm trying to think of somebody who does. I mean, for me, somebody like Cate Blanchett would be an obvious choice because she can play anything.
A little too old now. But
maybe, yeah. Depends on when you set it, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
It's important to kind of get that. I know a lot of people have done the whole, let's get Millie Bobby Brown in as young Leia because she looks a bit like young Carrie Fisher.
I think she looks like a young Natalie Portman, or she looks like a young Carrie Fisher, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, but I mean, that would be a left field pick.
For Ventress.
Young Ventress, yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Kind of Jedi Lost era. But without Across the Stars playing every other minute. Because, that audiobook had a lot of Across the Stars in it.
It did.
As I recall.
That was the only thing that bugged me about the audiobook, to be fair. The rest of it was amazing.
It was great in every other respect, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Ahsoka.
I'm still trying to work out actresses who've done more than one Star Wars character. I'll come up with like 2 or 3 actors, but no actresses.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if you really wanted to go for a left field pick, Rebel Wilson.
There's interest.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun.
If they're going to reuse Detours, that'd be an amazing casting choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No big. Go with the big shocks, I guess.
Ventress. As it's a character we've mostly seen animated, actually, you need someone who can do the voice.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
I mean, certainly, like I've always said, the best comic movie actors are the ones who manage to nail the voice.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghost Rider, for all its weaknesses, the voice of Zarathos was spot on.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily Nick Cage doing that, right? I don't think.
No, I generally say the less work you can give Nick Cage, the better. Sometimes if Nick Cage turns up on set and you've got a colouring book and some crayons ready, that's the best thing you can do.
Just give him something else to do just in case, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about the colouring from outer space. But
yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want Nick Cage's Ventress anyway.
No, I know what you mean.
It's tough. It's got to be someone who can do the voice.
What's Dakota Fanning up to nowadays?
She's been quite a big fan of Dakota, as I understand it.
Yeah? She's making sure Dakota doesn't overheat. Does she do both north and south? That's a lot of work.
It was why you don't see her doing much else.
What does Elle do then? I suppose she keeps Elle cool.
Yeah, she looks after Millie Bobby Brown. Yeah.
I actually think, having said that, Ventress might be... You might end up with, if you wanted to pick something, if you wanted to cast Kristen Stewart in something in Star Wars, Ventress wouldn't be a terrible shout. No,
the only thing you could cast Kristen Stewart is capable of being cast as 2 things: a gonk droid and a moisture evaporator. That's all I want to see her cast as.
I'm thinking basically I've gone with Twilight series.
Yeah,
actors.
I've noticed that's what you.
Well, Anna Kendrick's got a Twilight cast to her name,
isn't she? Yeah. Dakota Fanning.
The only reason I know that is because I've seen Breaking Dawn Part 2, which incidentally is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know if I saw that one.
At the end of the film, they do the one thing I did like about it is at the end of the film they do this really cool montage where they thank all the cast who were in all the films.
Oh, okay,
so it starts all the way from the beginning of the first Twilight all the way to Breaking Dawn Part 2, and it gives a little, a couple of seconds props to every actor.
Breaking Dawn Part 2. That's
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, and Anna Kendrick was in there. I was like, oh, she must have been in one of the earlier films. I still don't care because those movies
I've seen the first.
What they are?
Three. I don't think I saw either of the Breaking Dawn ones.
No, they were
awful. I've read all the books and they were god awful.
Yeah, they were not good. But yeah, from that, Kristen Stewart popped into my head because she's got a kind of... She can do the kind of stone-faced look that Ventress would probably need live action.
Okay.
Let's say Dakota Fanning, I think, has probably got the range.
The character she plays in Twilight is basically Ventress, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
The similarities are there, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, Dakota Fanning's kind of growing on me, to be honest. It's not a bad shout.
You might want to get that looked at. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's probably not normal, right?
I'll walk it off.
You're so tough.
Yeah. Elizabeth Olsen.
Okay. For which one? Ventress? Yeah, that might work. Yeah.
The other two.
The other two Olsens?
Yeah, or was it when the Large Hadron Collider fired that they disappeared and we got Elizabeth Olsen instead?
I don't know. The last thing I heard about was them, but it was in the context of a Zero Punctuation video about one of the lawsuits they were involved in against a claim. It's like it was a weird deep cut. I was like, I wonder what's happened to them.
Yeah,
because they had last I knew
they're still working.
I'm sure they are. Yeah, and I'm sure they're doing a perfectly adequate job of it too. Yeah. Like they've never been bad actors in that respect.
Yeah, they've never been on a Star Wars podcast, as far as I'm aware. So that's
also true.
For us.
Yeah, also true. It'd be interesting. That'd be the kind of thing I'd be at least intrigued to kind of watch is the Olsen twins doing a Star Wars podcast, just because I'd be really kind of keen to know what they talk about in episode 1.
Yeah, Mary Kate is now a fashion designer.
Okay, that kind of tracks.
And Ashley is now a fashion designer, author, and businesswoman.
Huh. That seems to be a common career path for teen starlets.
I think it's because all you've got to do is put your name on something.
I mean, they've got experience of that. They're in the credits and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Must be a relatively easy transition.
And they had a DS game as well. I remember reviewing it 314.
Yeah,
we
didn't
review it. We used to have an article. We used to have a feature article where we just reviewed games based on their covers and then rolled a D10 to give them a score.
Yep, that makes sense. I mean,
it was a good series.
It was a good series. Still there, I think. If memory serves. Yeah, why not?
I'm sure the humour hasn't dated that well, but
probably not.
I apologise for nothing.
Yeah, and to be fair, as the editor, I will not be cancelling anyone, so don't bother asking.
Yeah,
it just saves us all the time in the world. Somebody popped into my head just then. Oh, I remember what it was. I was sitting there thinking, because there's been rumblings about Brie Larson, haven't there? Not in the sense of like she's definitely going to do it, but she posed with a lightsaber in a picture.
Yeah, she's done that a few times.
And all the kind of the usual Twitter kind of
stands.
the usual stands and the sort of borderline sycophants kind of went, they're going to cast, she's confirmed.
Yeah, that's a little rapid snowball happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And before you know it, she's been cast as the thermal exhaust port in Rogue One Part 2.
Yeah, Rogue One Part 2, which is the one at the end where they reference all the rebels who were killed in the corridor scene.
Hey,
we'll never forget you.
It's going to be a short story compilation at some point.
Yes, indeed. And a short montage, let's be fair, because there's only about 6 of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brie Larson. If you're going to have Brie Larson,
I
don't know, maybe like somewhere in there.
I think I've only seen her in Captain Marvel.
You've seen her in Endgame? I was going to say, you've seen her in.
Yeah, I've only seen her as Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I see. She's done. She's done other stuff.
She's in Scott Pilgrim, but I saw that when it first came out, and it's full of actresses and actors who are now more famous, and I can't remember what they look like. Yeah,
fair. It's one of those movies where there's a lot of people who you kind of go, I know them.
It's like a Kick-Ass that's got both Quicksilver, isn't it?
That's true. Incidentally, speaking of Kick-Ass, Chloe Grace Moretz is probably a half-decent Ahsoka pick.
Ahsoka did more than Ventress, I think,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's got the kind of... She's got some kind of attitude in her performances, like as in she can put that across, but I think she puts across snarky better than evil.
Maisie Williams as Ahsoka.
I could watch that.
Yeah.
And then have Sophie Turner as Ventress.
A lot of people did for 10 series.
To really freak people out.
Is what, sorry?
Have Sophie Turner as Ventress and just have them face off in an episode. of something.
I don't hate that.
No, it's not the worst.
I'm not the biggest Sophie Turner fan in the world, but
that's all right. I mean,
she could probably do that.
Yeah, I reckon she could pull that off. I mean, I'm only, in terms of borderline evil characters, I'm only really going on Dark Phoenix for Sophie Turner, and that's not the best example because it's more about stuff that's done to her rather than stuff that she's kind of doing out of malevolence.
Yeah.
It'll end up being somebody like Angelina Jolie, speaking of which. Like, well, I kind of went to Maleficent. Like, as Ventress, I kind of think it would end up going to somebody like... she might be pretty good.
Too old.
But I mean, it talks about... again, you're talking about when is it going to be set, you know?
Okay,
because Dark Disciples still canon. Yeah. So and that's kind of... That's your window, isn't it?
I mean, avoiding spoilers. She's not going to be in anything after Dark Disciple.
I think we've kind of given the gist there. I think that's good enough.
I think we've given. If you haven't really got now, you don't care that much.
No, well, this is true. Plus, we've also given way more than the gist. If by gist you mean complete plot.
Yeah. It's well worth a read anyway.
It's a great book. It's a good audiobook too, I think, as memory serves.
Yeah,
I can't remember if it was one I did on audiobook.
There are no bad Star Wars audiobooks, especially if you like Across the Stars.
Yeah, if you like Across the Stars, they're brilliant. All of them, except for The Secret History of Star Wars, which has its conspicuously absent.
Well,
yeah, okay. I don't know if it's just because
budgetary thing.
There's not really money in it. There's not really music in it. Rather, there's plenty of money in it. Because it's all about the success of Star Wars. So,
the most successful pop culture phenomenon of the past 100 years. Yeah,
well, quite. Yeah, exactly. But there's not actually that much music in it. I think there's a little bit of Star Wars.
Possibly all time. I don't know what's spread and crossed more of a world of Star Wars apart from possibly the Black Death.
Yeah, and even then, that's like how many people remember that going to see that in theaters?
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean. Jar Jar detractors would say that the comparisons are there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would, but at the same time, we don't have to listen to them because that character is overtly for kids. So deal with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the hold-up maneuver, is it?
Well, quite. If Jar Jar had done that, I would understand, people's ire because that would have just been gratuitous and unnecessary.
If anything, that makes a little more sense.
Took me a second. That kind of washed over me.
Me to crash ship for other ships. Jar Jar, that's insane. Me said no.
Yeah. And yet, here I go.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. So, who are we going for? So, I kind of feel like otherwise we're going to end up dancing around this.
We have meandered a little, haven't we?
Yeah, we're one to do.
It's been known. Ventress, like I said, I really want someone who could do a voice.
I'm going to go for Dakota Fanning as my pick because I think she could do it.
Elizabeth Olsen, I'm sticking with.
Elizabeth Olsen?
Yep.
So Elizabeth Olsen's your pick, yeah?
Yeah, for Ventress. For Ahsoka, I kind of like Maisie Williams.
Do you know what? Now that you've said it, I'm happy to go with that as I will mutually agree with you on that one. That's a good shout. Okay, so there you go. So Dakota Fanning and Maisie Williams, if you're listening, and if Lucasfilm is listening,
believe you're not. We'll
put you in touch. That's doable. We actually charted in the UK briefly a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Why didn't you tell me these things?
Because it was
the most famous I've ever been. Why didn't you tell me these things?
When I say brief, I do mean like a matter of a day or two. We kind of went up into the top 100 in TV and film, and then back down again within like a day or two. Yeah,
brilliant.
It was cool.
That's really good.
Yeah. It also wasn't one of our episodes.
One of the top 100 podcasts in the UK. That's awesome. Rob.
It also wasn't one of our episodes. It was one of the placeholders while I was on honeymoon. So I was like, yeah, well, I mean, it's a cool thing, but at the same time, that could be because it was a Force Awakens roundtable. It could have been the Steve Kirk memorial episode. I forget which. But I mean, everybody loves Steve Kirk. So to be honest, even if it was, it's understandable,
Yeah, I get the brief.
Everybody loves Steve Kirk, and with good reason. He was wonderful. Anyway, so Michael, hope you enjoy those casting choices. Listeners out there who are sitting there screaming about an actress we've forgotten, write in. Yeah. Podcast at emotionally14.com, at Talk Star Wars in the usual places. There's ways and means to get in touch. So
Carrier pigeon, semaphore.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you want it on next week's show, one of the ones I mentioned is probably quicker. But if you want it, if you're not fussed about when, then yeah, carrier pigeon, go for it. Why not? Just, you know, give me some notice. I tend to turn the fan on.
Still doing that, huh?
Yeah.
Last time.
Yeah. Well, you know, the flat gets warm.
$2,000 that drone cost.
Not to us. So, another question. Yeah. So, in fact, our last question of the evening, but I think this can go. There's legs on this.
Yeah. Okay.
Weibel's Wanderings. So, the good James Weibel has seen fit to ask us a question.
Do you mean Weibel?
Was Chewie flirting with the nurse in The Force Awakens?
Yes, and there's a hell of a deleted scene.
If so, does he cheat on his wife? Flirting doesn't mean cheating. Is he still married? Flirting doesn't.
Is that decanonised?
I know. Is it in Aftermath, in Life Debt?
Oh, yes, you're right. It might be. Okay, yeah, it canonised for Holiday Special.
Flirting doesn't mean cheating, but it can also be an indicator, James. Yeah, I mean it can.
It can.
I've never necessarily taken it as flirtation. So I've always taken that scene as she's kind of listening to him talk, doesn't have a clue what he's saying, like because she doesn't speak through work.
Not many people do.
No, exactly. I imagine it's Rey makes sense. She's a scavenger. She's on a planet with loads of people coming and going. Makes sense that she could pick it up. Fair enough, right? Han Solo, obviously, same again.
Yep.
He was in Moloch's gang. You could assume that a Wookiee might have come and gone. Mm-hmm. It's conceivable. Fine. Her, not so much. Because it's only really Chewbacca. And he's not been affiliated with the Resistance for years, presumably.
There's probably some expanded universe novel where she's raised by Wookiees.
Maybe, yeah, probably. There's a one-off 4-part miniseries comic.
A little novella bumbled at the end of Victor Prime or something.
Well, what place to put it?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
yeah, that's a bit of a shot to the heart.
One novelisation. Yeah,
a bit of a hit to the heart there. It's called Moon Dancing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always kind of interpreted it as she couldn't give a monkey's what he's saying, but she doesn't want to be. She doesn't want to be a tool about it. Yeah, she's being a nurse. Doesn't want to be a tool about it, and. She's, she at the end, she's sort of like, oh, you're so like, oh, it's so, that sounds really scary. You must be so brave. And he's like, yeah, I suppose I am. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I have never really stopped to think about it, to be honest with you, but I have killed a lot of people. Yeah,
exactly. Like, and then Chewie goes, can I get a different nurse? But yeah, that's how I've always kind of taken it. I've not necessarily taken it as a flirtatious thing so much as a,
Not a sexually flirtatious.
Yeah, like
thing.
A sort of,
like a light-hearted flirtation, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing too.
Yeah.
Nothing. There's not too much to read into it, as it were.
No, exactly. They're not going to
have them. Have them.
I mean, I think
climb
it's quite a cute scene.
Yeah, they're not going to have her climb the Roshir tree, are they?
Yeah,
as it were.
I mean, it's just. I'm not sure what device she's using is. It just looks like she's ironing him.
I mean, that could be it. It could just be that, like,
steam clean him.
In Star Wars, that's how you get wounds, like light wounds, closed up. I don't think he takes any shots, does he? Like you'd need a big iron and a fair bit of wax for Kylo's wound, but she's not treating Kylo because
that's before then, isn't it? It's for shoot at Mars's castle, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I suppose it must be, yeah, because after that, I mean, Maz might get a parcel. I didn't really pay attention to the backdrop. Yeah. There may have been characters just turning up. It'd be great if. Do
you ever do that thing where you start saying one word and your brain decides to change its mind at the last minute?
Big time, and it usually ends up with me saying either a curse or a slur. It's just there never seems to be any kind of middle ground on that.
When I did in the shop the other day, was a guy came in, had a look around, just browsing, and had a bit of a chat, and then he left. I went to say thanks guys, and then my brain said there's only one of them, that'd be a bit weird. So as he left, I just went thanks guy.
Nice. If you're Canadian, nobody would have thought anything of it. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if his name was actually Guy, in which case it probably just freaked him out.
They would have just been like, how, what? I'm gonna never call me again. I didn't call you before. We'll keep it that way.
So
I had a question based on this, because I think that's probably one of the funniest bits in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, totally.
And I wanted to kind of get your sense. I know we've probably done, I feel like we've done a discussion about this before, but there have been more movies since then. And obviously your point of view might have changed. Like, if you had to pick from some of the films, some of your favourite kind of comedic moments, what would you pick?
Oh, I find that vague and unconvincing.
I'm talking like, so that would be your Rogue One pick, for example.
Yeah, I'll go one from each film within that. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. If you can be, you could have multiple.
It would be K2 dialogue.
Yeah, that's fair.
From Rogue One, and that was the one that sticks in my mind and is relevant to everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
It's just sort of when you control out at work relatively often.
Yes. Would you like to know the chances of using that on you?
That and impressive every word in that sentence was wrong gets them out a few times as well.
Yeah. On the subject of Last Jedi, there's a lot of humour in it that doesn't land for me because it's quite. I feel like it lacks the subtlety of, not being pitched to the Marvel crowd. But one bit I've always really liked is. So I watched it again the other day. This is why it's popped into my head.
I'm sorry.
So there was this particular bit, because somebody had done this video, and I thought the video was relatively funny, but actually I thought it was they'd redone some of the scenes from Last Jedi with sort of vague background laughter and recut it like Seinfeld.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah. So before some of the scenes, it boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And as somebody who enjoys Seinfeld just fine, I thought, I'll give this a go. But one of the bits I really liked that I thought, oh, you know what, I like this bit. It doesn't really land with the rest of the video's kind of saying it's like sort of a slightly lame humor and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the one bit I really do like is Luke and Rey come out, and Rey sits on the rock, and Luke plants her hand on the deck and says, now reach out. And she thrusts her hand out. Yeah. And he sort of rolls his eyes, and he picks up a leaf, and he starts tickling her hand and going, "Do you feel that?" She goes, "I feel it. That's the Force." He's like, "It's the Force. It's the Force." And he's talking about it, and he's like kind of geeing her up, and he's like, "You're really strong. You must be so strong." And then just whacks her across the back of the hand, and then she sort of, she goes, "Ow!" and looks at him, and he's sort of staring at her, and then she just goes, "You meant reach out," and she sort of points to her chest, points to her heart, and he's like, "Yeah." Yeah, I just enjoy that particular. Yeah,
it's Daisy Ridley's delivery on that second part is what wins it for me.
Yeah, just the reaction to the hit as well is kind of just quite amusing. Yeah, I think the one that really worked for me at the time and gets slightly less funny every time I see it was the BB-8 flipping out the flame as a thumbs up. Yeah, that kind of the first time I was really into that, and every time I watch the film. I like it, but it kind of resonates with me ever so slightly less.
The first time I saw it, I thought he was flipping him off. I didn't think he was giving him a thumbs up.
BB-8 doesn't strike me as the flipping off kind,
But it makes as much sense.
I mean, sure, I guess.
This guy who's got my mate's jacket is just telling me to lie for him. I'll give him the thumbs up.
Yeah, but he gives it because Finn gives him the thumbs up first. Or because BB-8 the thumbs up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It'd be funny if he was just...
BB-8's a droid.
They should let me make a Star Wars movie. Crazy legal disclaimers. Never let me make a Star Wars movie.
Never let me anywhere near it.
No, don't.
Thermal detonator scene in Solo?
Oh, there's so much in Solo. It's hard to pick one bit.
Solo's a really funny movie. Yeah. And it's not like it's... And again, it's like... It's not over the top with it. It's just good. Like, there's just funny in so much as... little things. Like I found him doing the whole Shriwok thing. At first, I was a little bit, I
loved it.
Yeah, I got better with it as it went on, and it was just a little. It was only short as well. It wasn't like didn't play through the whole film. I'll tell you what. Speaking of Last Jedi again. Kylo Ren opens up every laser on Luke possible, and at the end Hux just goes, "That's enough," and it all just dies down. And he just goes, "Do you think you got him?" I love that, especially because Luke obviously then steps out from inside, and it's like, that's pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Yeah, it's annoying that Hux doesn't have they've clearly pitched comedy with him, but he gets relegated to the stupid face brigade, and that's unfortunate.
More a problem with Last Jedi than Force Awakens.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It won't be as much a problem in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. It remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Last Jedi, I feel that they're probably the two that I like the most. Those two bits. Mm-hmm. Force Awakens, I really like the whole dialogue between Han and Finn. Yes. So where did you work?
Yes.
Sanitation. Yeah,
that's not how the Force works.
It's the despair in his voice. Like, that's not how the Force works.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that sanitation job seems to have taken Finn so many places. If you watch the films and kind of go, hang on, like why does he know this? It's like, man, that sanitation job really was really opened doors for him.
Yeah, weird. It's kind of spooky, huh?
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be. So on the subject of comedy in Star Wars, obviously, like I say, it's subjective anyway, but especially in the more recent films, it seems to be a bit more divisive in terms of whether it lands for people or not, and that's fine. If there's comedy pitched in Rise of Skywalker, who do you think is going to be the one to bring it out? Ignoring Finn, because I feel like Finn has been kind of... I'm hoping they're going to give him a bit more depth. A bit more. Really? Interesting. I mean, that would work. Yeah, I mean, he's capable, certainly. It's just the character he's playing seems like he should be a bit more of a hard-nosed kind of...
He might be. He might be an incredibly sarcastic
Well, that's true.
He might be an incredibly brutal humour. He hasn't got to be goofy.
That's true. But I'm just wondering, because I agree he shouldn't have to be, but given the kind of level they've pitched the sequel films at, it seems like he probably would be.
Yeah, okay.
What did you make of... Did you see the 30-second clip that did the rounds of the jet troopers?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. Did it make your eye twitch as well?
No, I liked it fine. What was your problem with it?
That Poe was surprised by the fact that they fly, even though he's seen them in the comics.
Oh, okay. Busy.
Yeah, and Finn's surprised by them flying, even though he worked there. C-3PO has every right to be surprised.
Yeah,
he might never have seen one, but those two have no reason whatsoever to be surprised.
Well, I think it's because stormtroopers tend to take off their jetpacks when they go to the toilet, and he only works in sanitation.
Yeah, could be. But presumably he's been through all the training and stuff.
You generally find most jetpack facilities frown on using the devices in the toilet.
That is fair enough.
Ever since the incident.
Yeah, that's true. And then, you're bound by workplace confidentiality not to speak about it any more than that. But he went through all the training.
That bog brush is still fused to the floor.
Yeah, they can't
get it out. It's just stuck there. Apparently, whoever pulls it out becomes the next king of England.
Is that how they decide it now?
Yeah.
I thought there was some sort of test.
Yeah.
Some sort of champion battle.
Yeah. You just got to go into the toilet and pull the bog brush out, and then you can Brexit joke deleted.
All right. Thanks for that. Saves me the trouble later.
Yeah.
I would feel like Lando would be a source of comedy in this next film.
I kind of want him to be... He's going to be affable, and he's going to be lovable, and he's going to be a little roguish and rakish because he's Lando, but I kind of want him... I kind of like to see a bit of General Calrissian, I think. Yeah,
that's fair enough. I think what I mean is there might be some funny interplay between him and somebody else, but I don't see him going goofy. I don't see him being the goofy character.
With him.
Not least of all because I'd like to believe Billy D would go, no. If they said, we're going to make you do this goofy line, it's like, get the hell out of here. You called me, remember?
Yeah.
And then, Poe maybe? Like a source of...
Yeah, he can do his Tesco value Iron Man routine from Last Jedi.
Yeah, fair. And then, I don't feel like there's going to be any... The way they're pitching the Kylo stuff is very much that he's a serious, moody villain Grr.
Yeah, I don't see him going full Matt Radar technician.
Definitely not.
He's never been one to bring the jokes, though. The closest to you've ever got to comedy at Kylo Ren is after his first massive tantrum is his pause and he says anything else.
Yeah, which is pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah, that's in the timing of it, but it's not actually him trying to be funny as a character.
No, it's effortless, you know.
Yeah.
It just plays nicely off what's just been done. Mm-hmm. It works nicely in that respect.
They've never used Kylo Ren for comedy.
No, and nor should they.
No, I agree.
He needs to be sufficiently compelling as a villain.
Yeah. I think we're maybe not appreciating 3PO's contribution enough. He has a potential for some great comedy in Episode 9.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah. In fact, I would say in most Star Wars movies, he's quite funny.
I think with the exception of Episode 2, I would agree.
Yeah.
Because he's bloody awful in that. And no fault of Anthony Daniels, just what he's given.
It's the fact he was given Jar Jar's script.
Yeah, that seems pretty inarguable, really. Seems like it definitely could be. You could swap him in, and nobody would really know the difference. But then
I still can't work out why he's there.
Why C-3PO's there?
Because they go to the Lars family and go off, try to rescue Shmi, fail, come back home, get the message from Geonosis, go to help Obi-Wan. So they jet off to Geonosis to go and rescue Obi-Wan, and then they just take C-3PO with them.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
For of nothing.
Yeah. He turns up and went, I made that. And they're just meant to go, okay.
I suppose. I can only assume there's another, after the ship takes off, you're supposed to cut to the Lars family just going, did he take the droid? Who's going to use it?
Yeah.
Or is maternal word chums as well?
Maybe he's got like a touch in some sort of thumbprint interface. Yeah. And Anakin...
Everyone wants to use 3PO to play word chums with for some reason.
That is fair. You know, other word games are available. They're so available. Like, there's so many.
Yeah. Is there a TV show or a movie you love? Chances are there's a Candy Crush knockoff with that pasted over.
That is fair, yeah. Or Queasy Cupcakes.
Yeah. A bit Billy D there.
No, sorry, I've just been watching a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my voice just won't go deep enough for Andre Braca this time.
Oh, okay.
It is. Fair. It's. I think it's totally fair. Like, his voice is very distinctive, and that's tricky.
Yeah.
I can just about sometimes get to Lance Reddick for Bush.
Like who? If Holt isn't your favourite character, you're not paying attention.
I'm up to series 4.
He should be your favourite character by series 2.
He's pretty good. Yeah. Like, just the cutaway gags are often great with him, just because they're usually.
Talking of DC voice actors, in Superman, Batman Apocalypse, he plays Darkseid.
As in Andre Braga?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's
a good.
I want to watch that
good
now.
Pick. Yeah, I do. I do too. So comedy from there's not like a huge. Nothing springs instantly to mind with the original trilogy.
Well, I had this when I went to see the 97 reissues of the original trilogy, the special edition, as it was called. In the cinema for A New Hope, I was hearing people in the audience kind of laughing around me at the stuff the droids were doing.
Okay.
Like the interaction of C-3PO and R2, or some bits like when Chewie barks at the mouse droid and it just does a 3-point turn and scoots out of there. And it was like... I have this moment of, oh no, wait, these are funny. It's just I've seen this film so much from such a young age, it doesn't strike me as funny.
No.
Whereas actually there probably is quite a lot of humour in original trilogy, but it's a combination of being exposed to it at a young age and overwatching it.
Yeah.
You just don't pick up on it.
Yeah, I know.
I think there probably is quite a lot there. It was like I rewatched the 90s movie recently, the Adam West
Sorry, say again.
With Penguin and Riddler and Joe.
The Batman 66.
1960s Batman.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the movie version, Adam West movie. And it occurred to me that a lot of the stuff in it that I'd taken really seriously was actually quite funny, but you don't realise it when you're a kid, when they're doing stuff like trying to solve the Riddler's riddles and they're doing the convoluted answers like, oh, everything happened at sea. Don't you get it? C for Catwoman, which is hilarious because that's not how riddles work. But when you're a kid, that's the world's greatest detective has managed to work this out, and you just kind of swallow it at face value. And my dad said he went to see that movie at the cinema when he was a kid, and he couldn't work out why his mum and dad were laughing because it seemed serious to him. Yeah. And it's in the same way that we laugh at the jokes in Shrek and Toy Story and Hotel Transylvania that the little kids don't clock. Yeah. And I think for us, that was Star Wars for us. A lot of the stuff we don't see as funny actually was. Yeah. Yeah, so that was my long, convoluted Skype interrupted way of explaining. So comedy in the original trilogy. Yeah, listeners, I might as well call it out now. I'm going to do my best with this edit, but we're having some intermittent issues with the connectivity. So if it does bleed in, then apologies. But I'll do the best I can with what I've got. But obviously, I do only have a couple of days to turn it around, and I do have other things to do, unfortunately. So I will do the best I can in the time I have. So apologies in advance if it's suboptimal this week. We have no idea why. He's my favourite Autobot. Yes, suboptimal is. I mean, for me, he kind of. I don't know. He's not ideal, is he? He's just. Optimal Prime is my favourite. Optimal Prime's good. Yeah, he comes next day if you order him before 10. It's a weird part of the passage of technology that means that Ravage is actually more disguised as a giant robot panther than he is as a music cassette these days. Yeah, I suppose he would be. I've never really given that much thought. You can do a similar joke for Laserbeak. Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, I mean, very true. And Soundwave, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. By extension. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you might need as much as anything you say does, Brad, as well. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're talking about the Humberbuns rule, yeah. Not to be confused with the Humberbuns rule. Humberbuns. Yeah, very different. So I think that'll about do it, to be honest, because, like I say, we have talked about comedy in Star Wars before. We've kind of talked about the really good ones. And like I say, this cool quality stuff is starting to drive me out the wall. And I'm already conscious of the fact. One last question about the comedy side. Yeah, please do. Are there any funny bits in Revenge of the Sith? I mean, I don't know if it's meant to be funny, but when Yoda jumps up and beheads the two clone troopers and the Wookiees are just like, what? It's just that brief moment of like... Don't ask for an explanation. Did he... If he asks for a protocol droid, we should let him take it. Just give him whatever he wants. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's probably others. Mm-hmm. There's the Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan shoots Grievous with the blaster, drops it, and just goes, so uncivilized. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously a nice little callback to Episode 4, which is weird with a prequel, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's a callback to a thing that hasn't happened yet. But that's kind of, there's a fair bit of that in the prequels just because of the nature of the beast. But it's odd. I still find it weird. It's like a call forwards. But I can't really get my head around how that works. Yeah, how that works. I mean, I can sort of get my head around why it's funny. Just is, I guess. Yeah, but sometimes it just is. Yeah, sometimes it just is. Sometimes we are for the big. Yeah. Backstroke of the West is the funniest bit of Revenge of the Sith, to be fair. I'll give you that. Yeah. I can't remember. Is there a joke when he loses his lightsaber and Commander Cody retrieves it? I can't recall. No, I don't think there is. It's just I found this for you. Oh, cheers. Yeah, that's kind of it, isn't it? That's the extent of it. So I managed fine. What sticks in my mind about Backstroke of the West is that Jedi Council gets translated into Presbyterian Church for no particular reason. No particular reason? Or every particular reason? Or every reason, yeah. But church I could have understood, but specifically Presbyterian Church. Yeah. Just the synagogue on Coruscant is not doesn't quite translate. So anyway, there you go. That's some thoughts on comedy in Star Wars. Listeners, what are your favourite comedy moments in Star Wars? In this podcast?
Could be, yeah. Why not write in and tell us? Podcast at emotionally14.com with the subject line Talk Star Wars, just like James and Vesuvi and Michael did. That's a great way of getting your questions read on the air. We can take audio ones. Obviously, if you're going to send them, maybe send them a couple of days before we record, make it easier on me to get set up. But yeah, you can do that. And that's a good way to weigh in on discussions such as your favourite comedy bits in Star Wars, your fantasy picks for Ventress and Ahsoka Tano, or indeed, what's Vesuvi's one? Bread. Do you like bread?
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Humberbuns.
So, Humberbuns. There you go. So if you've enjoyed this show, and there's perfectly good reasons to, what are they, you ask? If you've enjoyed it, you can subscribe on all good podcasting platforms. I've been informed reliably that we are not on Pandora, but I'm going to take steps to fix that in the next couple of weeks. But apparently that's easily done, so I will get on it. Yeah. Hopefully, Pandora listeners will not be missing out for too long. But in the meantime, if you can't go without your fix of Talk Star Wars fun, then you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Podcasts. All the goods, E14, yeah, directly on the website. Talkstarwars.co.uk still works as a direct link to the show page.
See,
there's loads
for you guys.
There are loads. We just provide so many, like Pandora, and we're so good at it that
Bandcamp.
Exactly, we're so good. No, we're not on
SoundCloud.
Bandcamp. No, we're not on SoundCloud.
Okay,
no, SoundCloud is a bit more
Audible.
Faff. Audible, no.
Okay,
I don't think they have podcasts apart from
MySpace.
No, nobody, no.
Okay.
No.
GeoCities?
No, see above.
Okay.
Yeah, but all
card system delivered to your door.
All the good ones are we're available on all the good ones, and some of the ones I've outlined that aren't so good, And like I say, we're working on the gaps, and if you find any other gaps apart from Pandora, because I know about that one, then again, write in podcast at emotionally14.com and let us know, and we can address it. That's the thing we can do.
That's got to be the next hipster thing, because vinyl came in and tapes came in. We've got to be ahead of a curve for the next hipster thing. You can subscribe to Talk Star Wars on pianola rolls. Every week, we will post you a special roll of paper for your player piano, which will play the latest episode of Talk Star Wars in good piano stylings.
In the form of notes, yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
And it will just be across the stars for 3.5 hours. So... The other way,
Williams will hear you.
Yeah, indeed. The other way, in addition to doing it via the subscriptions, if you just can't wait till Monday, because that's when the show drops normally for most people, and in most cases the overwhelming majority of people. But if you're one of those people who just can't wait, like a Dan Thorpe or a Matt Salvatore or a Neil Lowry, just to name a few, you can visit patreon.com/talkstarwars, and for as little as $1 per month, just $1. You can lose that down the back of the couch. Maybe you have. Maybe check there, and if you find one, as a way of saying thanks, chuck it our way. And in return for doing so, you get an ad-free version of the show, which drops 2 days earlier on a Saturday morning in the UK.
Bargain.
Now, you get, as a result...
£1.
Let's be fair. You get kind of...
Exchange rates may vary.
Let's be fair. Roughly 6 to 8 hours per month of free audio... ad-free audio, sorry, I should say.
Yeah.
Ad-free audio.
You can't ask people to pay for something and then call it free.
No, that's true. That's
extortion.
Yeah. I don't know if that... Would that be... I don't know. I'm not keen to find out, because the only way to find out is to try it and see what happens.
That's a nice ad-supported podcast you're listening to. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it.
So if you want 6 to 8 hours of ad-free podcasting per month, then that's assuming that nothing comes from Robcast, because he's often one for just dropping stuff.
He'll chip in.
Yeah, he does his bit. He does more than his bit. He does plenty. He does lots of good stuff.
He does
TSW Roundtable, and as a result of that, as a result of being a patron, you get that a week early when it comes. So the patrons get it when it's available, and then a week later, the main feed gets it. So you get a week's jump on the general public. That's pretty appealing, I'd say. A lot of people like to be first. Yes. I get it. So patreon.com/talkstarwars is where you can do that. Now,
amazing.
We are also on social media via Talk Star Wars, Emotionally 14, Facebook pages, at Talk Star Wars, at Emotionally 14, Twitter and Instagram pages. Emotionally14.com. Keep touching on it, but that's the website. YouTube channel, lots of good Star Wars stuff there. Brad will tell you all about that in just a second. But then there's also other stuff too. So, plenty. Absolutely plenty. And like I say, it's another way to get Talk Star Wars if you prefer to do like a video in the background. Even better.
Yeah.
So speaking of social media and YouTube, Brad, tell us more about you.
If you've enjoyed me talking Star Wars and would like to hear me adventuring in Star Wars tabletop gaming, then you can of course check out my show on Emotionally 14's YouTube channel, which is called Fire When Ready: Adventures in Star Wars Tabletop Gaming. You can check out Emotionally 14 on Emotionally 14's YouTube channel. It's just us playing with Star Wars toys, playing these epic games. If you've never played these games before, a lot of the stuff I do is aimed at complete newbies, and sometimes if you just want to go along for the ride and enjoy the Star Wars jokes, they're pretty lively, entertaining, comedy-focused chats as well. If you want to see some more behind-the-scenes stuff for that, then you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at FireWhenReadyUK. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RealHB, which of course stands for Humberbuns. And
Real Brad HB.
Brad HB, which stands for Humberbuns.
Humberbuns, yes. Brad Humberbuns. That is fact. That is canon, along with Suspicious the Hut. Of course,
yes.
Not to be confused with Sufficient the Hut, which is what I almost said. Who, he'll do.
You can also get all of Brad Humberbuns' books available from Audible and Amazon, including and 52.
Yeah. No, so I lost you for a second there, so that literally did sound like gibberish.
You can, of course, check out Brad Humberbuns on Audible and Amazon for monsters and horror related stories.
Indeed, if you like both of those things.
Great. Help me pay the mortgage.
Yes, indeed. If you like both those things, then Brad's written some very helpfully combined them in book form. And you can do that by visiting
Historical Fiction and Monsters.
You can visit emotionally14.com on a Monday, Talk Star Wars plug post, and there's a plug link on there that says buy Brad's books here, and sure enough it takes you there. It's pretty incredible.
We're making it so easy for you. There's literally no excuse.
Exactly. So I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at RobWadeVision.
Sure. See,
sorry,
you can.
Yep.
So yes, you can.
Yeah.
I'm being your hype man here.
No, that's cool.
It's hard with a broken down signal.
Yes,
it's like Public Enemy in an old person's home.
What did he say? He said something about the police. I don't know.
Something about a hype.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. Yeah. He said you're blind.
No, it's Wednesday.
He said you're blind, Ethel. You're blind to the facts or something. Who keeps track? Yeah. I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at RobWadeVision. And that's about it from me in terms of social media stuff, isn't it, really? I'm not on, I dropped the Grindr profile. It just seemed like a poor message to send, really. Because
the signal's going so weird. Sometimes you sound like you're talking super slow, and then it rushes to catch up, and you sound like the song "Informer" by Snow.
Now, what's actually happening is I've pinched my microphone cords, then I'll just let it go, and you get a whole bunch of stuff in one go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mitch.
You can keep them down.
Yeah. But no, Twitter and Instagram at RobWadeVision. That's about it. I turn up on YouTube videos. Obviously, I'm on here.
You do. My increasingly pixelated friend.
Yeah, indeed. Otherwise, that's kind of me currently. Twitter and Instagram and this.
Okay.
Yeah. Seems to be fine. People seem to be relatively happy with that. So
people find you, interested in what you're posting.
Yeah, exactly.
You've frozen again. Oh, there you are. Yeah. I think we should call it a day before the signal gets any worse.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah. So really quick, I'll shout out the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network, StarWarsCommonwealth.com on the web, Talk Star Wars, Tumbling Saber, Generation X-Wing, The Nerd Room, Rogue Squadron, San Diego Sabers, Retro Inc., Sandcrawler Cast.
Retro Inc. Yeah, we've got them all there.
Got them all. StarWarsCommonwealth.com.
Yeah.
Fantastic shows. Yeah. Love them. Thank you very much for listening to Talk Star Wars this week, episode 191. Sorry again about the audio giving us issues. I will do the best I can, and hopefully it won't be too jarring for you. But as I say, these things happen. Technology is what it is. There you go. So thanks for listening to episode 191. We'll see you next week for episode 192. And until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. And as always, may the Force be with you.
McLunkey.